We need to bring you up to date on the investigations about the allegations that were trumped against Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim by ex-private Ruth Ogunleye. When that allegation hit the media space, we told the world, we told Nigerians that we are clearly going to ensure that we investigate the allegations and we will get back to the public. And that is why we are here today. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Today, the Nigerian Army deems it necessary to address a series of grave allegations against Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim. Of course, those allegations concern issues like sexual harassment, cyberbullying, and of course, defamatory behavior. Not only Colonel Abdul Karim is involved in this issue, there are other senior officers who were alleged to have conducted, sorry for that interruption, please. There were other senior officers that were alleged by ex-private Ruth Ogunleye to have sexually harassed her, intimidated her, and subjected her to trauma in the course of her service. This individual, ladies and gentlemen, has been relentless in her online campaign against Colonel Abdul Karim, a matter that the Army can no longer overlook. Let me begin by clearly stating that the Nigerian Army is a professional force committed to the highest standards of discipline, integrity, and accountability. It is guided by rules and regulations that ensure every officer and soldier operate within the framework of respect for human rights and due process. In line with this, the Nigerian Army takes every accusation leveled against its personnel seriously and has established procedures to investigate any claim made against its personnel. The case of ex-private Ruth Ogunleye, who claims to be a former subordinate of Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim at the Nigerian Army Medical Corps headquarters in Lagos, is no exception to our commitment to due process. Upon receipt of her initial complaint, which included allegations of sexual harassment, the Nigerian Army took immediate action. The matter was referred to the Nigerian Army Corps of Military Police and tasked with conducting thorough investigation into the veracity of her claims. The investigation was conducted in line with established protocols, with every effort made to ensure a fair and impartial process. It is crucial to assert that the Nigerian Army, in its bid to ensure justice and transparency, conducted an exhaustive review of the facts, testimonies, and evidence presented. The investigation concluded that Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim did not commit the offense of sexual harassment as alleged by ex-private Ruth Ogunleye. The findings were definitive and based on objective evaluation of the available information. The Army maintains that Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim is a disciplined, regimented, and firm officer who has upheld the values of the Nigerian Army throughout his service. Suffice to mention, ladies and gentlemen, that ex-private Ruth Ogunleye had been recommended for discharge on medical grounds since 2022. But the Nigerian Army, being sympathetic to its own, thought it wise to give her the best medical treatment possible, stabilize her before discharging her into the wider society. Hence, while the Army was addressing the allegations of sexual harassment, further concerns about Ruth Ogunleye's conduct came to light. Her behavior, both online and offline, raised questions about her worsening mental health and emotional stability. Consequently, the Nigerian Army referred ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye for medical evaluation at the National Hospital in Abuja, following earlier assessments made by the Nigerian Army Medical Corps that suggested potential mental health concerns. This decision was taken to safeguard her well-being and to ensure that any action taken by the Nigerian Army was informed by a comprehensive understanding of her condition as advised by trained professionals. The medical evaluation confirmed that ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye was suffering from a condition that made her medically vulnerable. In light of this, the Nigerian Army, while fully capable of proceeding with disciplinary action for her acts of indiscipline and misconduct, opted to exercise compassion and leniency. Based on the medical report from the National Hospital and the advice of the Nigerian Army Medical Corps, the decision was made to shelve any disciplinary procedures that could have been brought against her. Instead, the Army prioritized her health, understanding that she was in no position to continue with military service. She was subsequently boarded and discharged from service. I will show you in the course of this briefing her discharge certificate. Further to this, ladies and gentlemen, though ex-Private Ruth did not serve up to pensionable years of service, which is 10 years, she has nonetheless been discharged from the Nigerian Army with 50% disability claim, meaning she will receive a 50% monthly pension for life. She has also been paid her terminal leave allowance and terminal parking allowance, as well as her contributions to Nigerian Army Welfare Insurance Scheme, also known as NAWIS, and Benevolent Fund, also known as BenFund. The payments were made on 14 August 2024 into her FCMB account. Her security debarment allowance for the period she served, which is 5 years, 54 days, has also been paid. The decision for her discharge, ladies and gentlemen, was reached following her rejection of offer of medical treatment either from the National Hospital and the Nigerian Army. Despite this, ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye has continued to propagate false narratives against Colonel Abdul Karim and other senior officers, using online platforms to engage in cyberbullying and defamation. This sustained campaign has become egregious misuse of her condition to garner attention, gain traffic on her social media handles, and disparage the reputation of the senior officers and the Nigerian Army in general. It is important to state unequivocally that the Nigerian Army will not tolerate the defamation of its officers, particularly when it is based on falsehood and driven by ulterior motives. While we remain empathetic to ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye's medical condition, we must categorically reject the continued defamation of Colonel Abdul Karim and the denigration of the Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army has done everything within its power to address her concerns through the appropriate channels, and investigative findings have cleared Colonel Abdul Karim of any wrongdoing. We caution the public to treat her allegations as baseless and without merit, given her established condition. The Nigerian Army stands firm in its commitment to maintaining discipline and order within its rank. Colonel I.B. Abdul Karim is a dedicated officer who has served our nation with honor and distinction. While we remain committed to providing care and support to former personnel like ex-Private Ruth Ogunleye, we will not allow our personnel to be maligned or subjected to unwarranted attacks. It must be emphasized that the Nigerian Army, as a professional national institution, has exhaustively exercised institutional restraints and decorum over this matter in order to allow for thorough, transparent, and impartial investigation, as well as medical evaluation to unravel the allegations. The Nigerian Army, therefore, wishes to state that it operates with high standards of professionalism and takes the welfare of its personnel very seriously, as well as handle all allegations with the seriousness they deserve. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention. That recommendation was based on the findings about her medical health, or mental health, so to speak. And like I mentioned, the Army, being empathetic to its own, decided to say, okay, let us administer treatment. Let us give treatment to this lady, rather than just throw her out or ease her out. And that was exactly why she remained in the system, and attempts were being made to ensure that she was restored to normalcy and continue in service.
No, the second row, please.
Ogunleye was not dismissed. She was discharged. Okay? So you need to get that right. Now, the fact that she had a mental issue, medical issue, so to speak, made it look like, okay, we don't want to throw this person out. So we need to do what? To intervene by doing what? Getting her treated. In the course of this treatment, we had to send her for medical evaluation. In the course of the medical evaluation, the investigation was equally going on. This made it to take some few months before we came up with this response. We couldn't have just, considering her status, we couldn't, like I told you, I went to the National Hospital. I was there with the minister when she visited, the Minister of Women Affairs when she visited, and I even interacted with her. Okay? So we had to take time. If you want to be thorough about investigations, grievous allegations have been made about sexual harassment, about intimidation, about being locked up, about being abused, about threat to life, and you think it should take just 2 months or 3 months? Parties have to be involved. Parties have to be investigated, have to be questioned. All the parties involved have to be invited. They have to be scrutinized. Okay? So investigation is not what you do haphazardly and throw out reports. No. I think we have been very, like I said, we have exercised very serious institutional restraints and decorum in handling this matter. That is why the Army only responded by telling the public at the initial stage that we are going to look into these grievous allegations and, of course, do what? Investigate. Today, we have arrived at that juncture, and we are bringing it back to the public. I think you should commend the Nigerian Army for this, please. Thank you. It is a standing policy. We have our harmonized terms and conditions of service for officers and for soldiers, where everything is documented. If you want to see it at the end of this meeting, I will show you a copy of it and show you the exact section where it mentions that those who, they call it disability. So if you have, for instance, if you have been listening to some programs on the radio, you find out that there was a soldier that said he was amputated and was not properly administered in terms of the disability payment. And I was called upon. I attended to it immediately. I brought him before the Chief of Administration, and the authorities quickly looked at it, and they saw that his claim was correct. It was wrongly calculated, and we addressed it and made the payment. Ruth Ogunleye has a serious issue here, a medical issue here. And we feel that as she, being one of our own, we cannot just throw her out into the larger society. What do we have to do? We had to intervene. That was why we actually sent her for medical evaluation to an independent body, not in the Nigerian Army any longer. And that evaluation came up with a report. The military police report, investigation report also came up. That is why we are at this juncture today, to let Nigerians know the truth, the facts about this matter. Thank you. if there is anybody from medical here, there's what we call medical in confidence. We have exercised very serious restraint and decorum by not throwing the document out to the public. However, the National Hospital is a very well-known establishment to all of you. And if you want to conduct further investigation, please, you are free, you are at liberty to visit the National Hospital. We have conducted our investigations, and we have brought the findings of our investigation before this press briefing this morning. So if you want to conduct further investigation, please, you are at liberty to do that.
Last question.
Code of conduct, we have rules and regulations that guide personnel of the Nigerian Army. Once you commence your training at the Depot Nigerian Army as a soldier or at the Nigerian Defense Academy as an officer, you are exposed to those regulations, and you begin to imbibe them right from the onset of your training. So there is no soldier, there is no officer that does not understand the implications of sexual harassment or intimidation in the service.